and hello, welcome everyone to this video. So we have gone through lots of things in the last videos, like data link layer. We discussed a bit on the network layer and IP address, and also the transport layer. So these are very technical things, but now we got to sort of make it sort of all connect, right? We have IP addresses where we want to serve the web for data. Okay, so how do you navigate the internet, right? Using all these numbers. Well, you don't do it all on your own, by your own. Okay, you use something called domain name system, because you don't type in IP addresses into your search bar. You have to type in a certain web address. So how does your browser know when you type, for example, wikipedia.org, right? What IP address to look for, right? So enter, the domain name system, also known as DNS. Okay, domain name system is the idea is quite simple. It's basically a way to match your web address, which is also called domain name, to a certain IP address. That's all it does. It's like DHCP but for web addresses. So DHCP matches an IP address to a certain or rather matches a certain MAC address to a certain IP address. Domain name system matches a certain IP address to a name. Okay, and that is all. Usually there are dedicated servers that do that. They call it the DNS server. So these are dedicated servers that actually translate. This is a Google one. Okay, so they're actually dedicated servers. For example, this Google public DNS server, which is able to so-called, you can see these IPs on here. These are your DNS servers. These servers are computers that are specifically there to match a web name to an IP address. Okay, so you can take a look at this public DNS and play around with it. I'm not going to go through it so much, but instead, for DNS, I want to go into some little bit of practical bits. How do you find out the IP address of a certain website? Okay, you use the tool called nslookup, which will be available in both Windows and Linux. Okay, nslookup. Alright, so this is how you do it. nslookup. I'll rather go here. So this was me old input. nslookup. Okay, don't correct. Okay, you usually enter into some form of command line, and then all you need to do is just type the website you want to check. For example, google.com, and then you will come into this. Okay, the server is this is the address, the full address, the socket address, I think, which is the IP address plus the port number. This port number 53 is actually for DNS. So if you take a look here, this oracle.com by default port number 53 is used for domain name server lookup or DNS lookup. Okay, so this is where all these sort of come in. So if you want to exit, just press Ctrl+C and you're out. This will be the same in Windows as well. You just open your command prompt and you do pretty much the same thing. Okay, so that's it for nslookup. It's very, very brief introduction. Alright, so you can take a look, and there's also more I can show you. This is ns command in Linux with some examples. Okay, this is the most simple way you can do it. If you don't want to use the command line, you can just use nslookup google.com. Okay, and then it will give you the both the IP address that google.com points to. It may change from day to day, plus the server telling you, the computer telling you which IP address is matched to which domain name. Okay, you can do this as well, www.google.com, and of course en.wikipedia.org. Okay, so that's it. All right. Of course, in actual fact, there's a lot more about DNS that you can take a look at, but all I'm doing here is I just want to show you what DNS is, what's the basic process behind a computer telling you what IP address to go for, and that's what a domain name server is about. And of course, you can also take a look at the wireshark as well. You can also examine a DNS packet. This one is called multicast domain name system query, multicast domain name system. So this is also a DNS query, but it's not the exact same as DNS, but it's pretty much the same thing. You as long as you are surfing on you can take a look at the traffic on your wireshark input, and of course you can check out what's inside a DNS message. Okay, so you notice that DNS usually uses UDP. Okay, it usually uses this UDP, user datagram protocol, on the source port 5353, destination port 5353. This is for multicast DNS. This is not the same as DNS, but for some reason the port used is 5353. So well, I guess it's a reference to the DNS port, which is 53, but this is different, multicast DNS. So this is for small networks, probably a local it operates at the local network level, not like the larger version of DNS. So this is actually for your local area network, or LAN, or wireless LAN for that matter. Okay, so I've shown you a bit about the wireshark, nslookup, and DNS. I hope this demystifies what DNS is about. Of course, if you want to know more, you can go and look at the Google crash course for networking. And yeah, hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.